All right, let's start it up. We are back with more Deceive Inc. Quick notice: if you saw my community post yesterday, I said we weren't doing a Deceive thing. That's been kind of rescheduled since this just dropped. There's patch notes and there's going to be an update. Well, the day you're seeing this, it may already be out. So I had to cancel my not cancel. I had to postpone my intended non-Deceive video that'll be coming in a couple days. Now we got to get these patch notes out. Want to play on the new patch a little bit, and then we'll be able to do I'll do some we'll see some non-Deceive content that I have planned. But for now, let's look into this April update. It does say work in progress, so this is the day before like the real patch notes comes out, so there might be some changes. If I see any, I'll have a pinned comment with them. Other than that, let's get right into it. So again, before we go live tomorrow being today your time, this is recorded the night before. So again, it should already be out or out sometime in the next 12 hours from when this goes live. Bunch of changes. I'm not going to read this little blurb because it's just saying what we're going to see. So solo and duo player count. Oh my gosh, I'm already screwing up. Blah, 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 blah. Solo lobbies will have 8 players. Duo lobbies are going to be 5 teams, aka 10 players. So this used to be 10, this used to be 12. So basically cut 2 players out from each of those. So we'll see how that changes things. They have some stuff here, but basically they experimented previously and they got some results, and now they're working on those results. And they are calling it another experiment, so it might get rolled back. Actually, it does just say for the launch weekend here. I did miss that line on my initial read through. So actually, yes, just for the launch weekend of this patch. So it'll be the Thursday when you're watching this and the patch goes live. So I assume that'll be the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and usually Deceive's weekends go into Monday a little bit. So probably a 4-day test or so for these. And they'll probably be asking for feedback, and I'll probably mention it when I see it. All right. They've redacted some changes here. There's a big NPC overhaul, and this is actually going to be pretty important. So item awareness. Yeah, NPCs would stop near intel and look suspicious. But now they're going to know where we spawn. I guess that was we the dev. But they're going to know where items spawns, and NPCs have a high internal suspiciousness rating. Will hang around items within interacting distance. So basically the NPCs interacting new items are going to be more player-like. That's the goal for that. We'll see how it goes, but the goal is first of all, this is cool. NPCs have a suspiciousness rating, so non-suspicious NPCs are probably going to be basically the same, but they've scaled up the suspiciousness ones of the extra suspicious ones. Also, I'm just saying suspicious a lot at this point. To better look like players, which will be pretty cool. This is something I never expected or thought of, but is really cool. So basically, running NPCs is more rare in the early game and more present in the end game. So kind of like players, sort of, because, well, at least me, because I've said this a couple times in various videos, but near the start of the game there's more players, so I don't run as much because there's more people who can see me. But as the game goes on, there's less and less players, therefore running is still the same amount of sus, but there's less people to catch you. So this is kind of, again, trying to mimic players, at least me. I can't speak for all players, but it's trying to mimic the way I think about running, so that's kind of cool. Danger zones, this is something that's interesting as well. So basically the danger zone is where the shooter is and where the shot lands. So both these zones used to be the same size and didn't count for any occlusion, meaning the sound, basically walls didn't exist for these zones. So NPCs could get very scared from very far away. They don't. Yeah, this is what they call out. Basically, the different danger zones are now different sizes, and they can occlude them with the way they occlude sound, meaning they can make walls basically stronger or weaker for those sorts of things. But yeah, basically should limit weird situations where NPCs 2 floors above a flight are afraid of a bullet that landed near like the top of a floor 2 floors below. Again, that floor should block that sound and block what they're calling that danger zone. So NPCs, maybe, you know, one on that floor where a bullet landed in essentially their floor might be scared, but the ones an extra floor above that shouldn't really care. All right, that's all for NPCs. Now we got some map updates. I am trying to go a little quickly because I don't want this to be another like 25-30 minute patch notes video. So we're going to be pressing on as quickly as I can here after I get my thoughts out. Hard Cell, Fragrant Shore, and Diamond Spire. So I'm not actually sure where this is. I'm just gonna look at the pictures. New rotation points, blah, blah. Let's just look at the pictures. We might miss some stuff, but I'm not actually sure which roof part this is just by looking at this. I think it's by that spawn, like C's back behind this wall that way. It's kind of hard to describe, but there's like a spiral staircase over here-ish. Anyway, new thing here. That doesn't make sense. I don't know where this is. You know what? I just don't know where this is, but more rooftop on Hard Cell is good for me. This green room here, I'm pretty sure exists already. There's just no door here, obviously, so they added a door here. I'm pretty sure there's already a green room right there, though. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And on the side here, you can see this is a little different. This used to be a jump into a window. Now there's a little ramp, and you can walk smoothly. No need to jump. Well, we won't know if we see NPCs take this path or not. I can't see in the window to see if it's a smooth transition down or not, but at least you don't have to jump in now. This green room is new here. Oh, no, sorry. This green room would exist. This green door is new. That green room probably got a little bigger looking at it, but basically is, you know, still exists. They just added a new door. And that's kind of all we see on that one that's new. This one, we added some boxes. The boxes here, this is the second floor of the vault. Boxes there. Just more cover on this floor of this vault, it looks like, which is going to be nice. It was a little bare. There's not a ton of fights in that spot in my experience, but like just having cover in those spots will make it a little better. It also looks a little wider if I'm looking at this bathroom roof. Maybe not. Tough to say, I'm going to be honest. All right, Fragrant Shore. This one might be my favorite change. This bathroom here, this is right by A extraction points, obviously right there. There's now a basically all glass green room here, and some, well, basically these benches used to be on the ground. Now they're in the air on a balcony thing, and there's a green room here. Just one more green room. Gonna be kind of cool. Let's read the blurb. Staff room, waterfront, balcony on the clock tower, and a bunch of new visual cover inside and in front of the Capitol. A whole new path to reach the central room of the vault. All right. So that's that new staff room. This is by the vault. This is in the vault. A lot of people don't come out to this outside area. It used to be just like this section here. Now there's the stairs down to this exit. I don't think that's a bathroom icon. I think the bathroom's like over. Oh no, it'd be down a floor over there. So I'm not sure, but not total. This might go to that docks. That might be like a straight run through on the docks. Now, hard to say exactly just from this picture, but another route here was kind of nice. Fragrant Shore Vault was just a little big box, and that extra flank route there might be helpful. Here we can see the new balcony on the clock tower. This is on Vault Terminal A building, essentially. The terminal is like right there. And we can also see these 4 new stands, and it looks like something back in there kind of blocked by the trees. One of these maybe arches maybe got moved in there. It's kind of tough to tell exactly, but it's definitely more cover. There's a new hole there, and that looks like about it. But definitely, and just new cover in this front foyer of the vault area. So yeah, basically more cover. That's going to be pretty interesting. That's kind of my thoughts. I'm liking these changes. These map updates might be my favorite. I'm really never going to have a problem with them adding more cover until it's too dense. Here we are on Diamond Spire. Tinted glass in some areas. Staff rooms expanded. And a bunch of areas have got visual cover and intel stuff. So like this, don't know exactly what floor we're on here. But I think it's C floor 20. No, I think it's the floor with Vault Terminal C on it. This corner here got a kind of an overhaul. I think that's the right one. Hard to say. This roof, there's two like rain shelter. I don't know if you'd call it a gazebo or not, but like more cover here. This rooftop was pretty bare before. New window here, probably not a huge deal in itself, but you know, just more changes. They're always looking at their maps, making improvements. That looks like it's it for map updates, but all those look good to me. Nothing seems like it's overkill or anything. All right, they updated the UI. They don't have a picture of it, but there's some UI stuff that's different. It's intended to make things cleaner and more stylish. I can't speak to it until we see it. That's the only blurb they have on it. So they especially call out the equipment. So that would be your weapon, your gadgets, and your expertise on that right-hand side of the screen. Can't really know until we see it, so can't really judge that. Aim assist is not something I have to deal with, but you can now turn your aim assist up and down for your hipfire and your ADS, and you can disable aim assist on hostile guards or keep it only on guards. So there you go, a couple more options for your aim assist. Vault printers are now reusable. This is kind of a big one. It's really not going to affect like 90% of games, 99% of games probably, but basically reduce camping. If you got a gold, if you got a gold keycard from the printer and just hung out in the gold room with the package, that limited the number of people who could even come fight you, and eventually it could potentially get to a point where just no one could get into the room with you. So that's why they made these reusable, most likely. Additionally, they say they moved some locations so some aren't too close together, which, yeah, probably good. Having them too close is not a good thing, so that's probably fine. I do like the reusable. It's, again, I don't think it's going to affect like most games, so it's just a kind of a safety valve instead of, you know, for that camping thing I talked about. All right, extraction phase. Whoa, boy, my bad. Extraction phase feedback. The colors of the nav mode when scanning with the briefcase. So your briefcase vision now has better, more contrasting colors. Again, they don't have a picture, so I'm hoping it's good. But that's all I got for now. And they tweaked the size of the UI indicator for the last briefcase ping, and they extended the time that ping is visible. That's probably good-ish, because there was times when people would, you know, delay their ping, and then they could, that ping would eventually go away and there'd be some time before you saw the next ping. It's not all that, like, this extended time thing probably isn't all that amazing, but at least it gives, you know, that info is available for longer. The size of the indicator showing that is probably important, but again, we don't have a picture, so I can't really judge that. This doesn't matter to me, but probably important. Now more of the XP you get in team modes is shared. Everything from unlocking doors and field upgrade chests are shared with the entire team. Cassettes, bonds, and post credits award their XP amount to the entire team. The credits and bonds will only go to whoever looted them, though, so just the XP goes to the team. XP for reviving has gone up to 100. And, well, they, again, say they're looking at it, and that's kind of like their first step, so we can probably expect to see them be fine and change this as they go through. All right, balance changes. Here we go. The expertise match cooldown at the start of game, your expertise basically is uncharged currently. Now it's going to be 50% charged, so you'll get your first expertise twice as fast, and then all your other expertises will be your normal. So this is just making it so that some agents aren't stuck without their expertise for, as you know, it's as long as they were. They give them better chances, but they don't want to give us that back entirely because they removed it. If you knew, they did actually used to have this, and you know, your expertise on the start of the match, and it used to be very strong for some agents. So this, they're trying to find a middle ground. And just the way they've worded this feels like something they might have implemented in a way where they can change it via like a hotfix or something and not a client patch. So it might be something we see them tweak more often than just patches, but we'll see. All right, some hitbox tweaks. I'll be honest, if I had to say one negative thing about this patch notes, it's kind of this. It's not the actual hitbox tweaks. The pass mostly targets Hans and Ved, whose hitboxes were bigger. and Octos whose hitbox was too small, so they made these ones a little smaller and this one a little bigger. But here's the one thing I don't like about this. We adjusted hitboxes on some agents, and it mostly affects Han. But like, these are the patch notes. Just tell us what you did. Just write it down. Just say we made Han smaller, we made Red smaller, we made Octo bigger. And if you hit, you know, Chavez, tell us you made Chavez 1% larger. So, you know, like, mostly and some are not the words I want to see in the patch notes. This is where I want you to be like, here's what we did. Here's all the boring stats we did, even if it's not, you know, not exciting. Yeah. Anyway, tiny gripe on the patch notes, but not actually this. This is fine. I mean, it just makes them... I again, don't know what the change is, and we may not even feel it. Though Octo being slightly bigger hitbox is going to be kind of nice. That guy was kind of a pencil. So let's see what happens there, though I imagine that's going to be overall a good change. Movement updates. This is kind of a big one, actually. So... and once you fire your gun, you weren't able to sprint. They say run, but sprint for, well, 3/4 of a second. Now it's only 1/4 of a second. So you should be able to catch up to someone sprinting and shoot them a little more easier than you could before this patch, which is going to be nice because there's a lot of times where someone just sprints away from you and you're like, well, I have to either sprint after them or shoot. I can't do both because I can't sprint and shoot. This one's mostly a controller thing, I think, but your maximum turn rate while running, you can turn more, I guess, while you're running. I think that's mostly a controller thing, because on your mouse, it's not really related to that. So that hopefully goes well for you controller users. I have no idea what that like will feel like, but hopefully it's good. All right, agent balance, probably the most important part here. All right. Jack of Diamond is now a high caliber profile for damage fall off, making it more potent at distance, and slight adjustments to the King of Diamond headshot. That's exactly what it says here. Jack of Diamond fall off up, the full fall off percentage. So if you're... Okay, so the damage fall off is going to start now at 25 meters. The max damage at full fall off means at 35 meters. Max damage at full fall off is always 10 meters more than this. So max damage at full fall off is going to be 70% of your actual damage, which means if you're shooting across the map, you're going to be doing 70% of your damage, you know, until you get to 35 meters. And then between 35 and 25, you're going to be doing 70 to 100% of your damage. And then closer than that, you're doing 100% of your damage. Yes, that's super weird, but that's how the fall off works. I mean, I don't know if it's weird. I don't know how fall off works in other games, but that's weird to describe. But there's kind of those zones, and hopefully that made sense because it's really the only time I'm going to say it. Headshot damage is now an 80 instead of an 82. That's probably just like a, yeah, just make those numbers look a little nicer. That's not really going to change any combos or anything I'm aware of. All right. Chavez, they're just adjusting. You can't pick up gadgets while invulnerable now. That's all they're doing. Probably the tiniest of nerfs, if you even want to call it that. So there we go. Larson on his weapon 1, it's now got a faster fire rate. I think that's good. That weapon wasn't great, so the faster fire rate maybe pushes it to a good weapon now. I'll be more than happy to try it out because I'm kind of excited for this to be a better weapon. Again, can't pick up gadgets while you're immaterial, which is invisible, yada yada. And this is the big one. Expertise 2, the smoke bomb, the grand finale. Zone has been reduced by about 55%, so it's significantly smaller. It's more than half, less than half the size it used to be. Sorry. Basically, they want to reduce how far you can go inside it, and that makes sense. And then this is kind of something that I personally didn't even know you could do. You can no longer use social interacts inside the zone, so you can no longer, like, you know, do your mop the floor action while invisible, I guess. I'm not really sure, but... you can't do that anymore if you were doing that. But this is kind of the big one, that size getting smaller. Would have liked to see a cooldown change on it. It's still got a really short cooldown if you get that gold expertise chip going. But we'll start here, hopefully, and fingers crossed we'll go from there. Alright, Octo is getting buffs. That's right, you heard it here first, or probably second. But, More competitive picks, aka buffs. They've touched every single one of his weapons to make them more convenient and more reliable in a wide range of combat situations. Because I always say, if you're not ambushing on Octo, you're not winning, which, yeah. We hope this makes Octo more fun and increases presence in matches. I hope so too. So is weapon 1 my favorite. Your hip fire has gone up to 15 damage a shot. Your 8DS intel shot here goes up to 23. I'm not going to do the math on breakpoints, but that might make it so that most fights are going to be only 5 shots instead of 6. That might be kind of big. This is going to be kind of big because it doesn't actually say headshot damage. I don't know if the headshot's going to be 20 or it's going to be 30, because it used to be 10 and 20 and now it's 15 and 15 and 20, but it might be 15 and 30. I can't know until we see it. It didn't say headshot damage. But it used to be just double that. Now it's maybe double still. It's hard, well, we can't know for sure, but this might be big. That hip fire might be kind of cool. We'll see. And you get one more shot before you have to reload. Probably not going to matter, because you'll if this is good enough, you'll be using this to reload. So the extra shot before you reload probably isn't going to matter too much, but maybe. All right, this is big. Also, I mean, all of these are big, but the charge time has been normalized, aka the first charge is going to take you half a second, and every other charge is going to take exactly the same amount of time after that. Is no longer just taking forever to get from charge 4 to charge 5, because that took, I don't know how long, but it felt like it was forever. But they also normalized the damage, which means for every 1 intel you put in, you get 10 damage. Rather than this being like a 60, it's just a 50 now. The 40 is the same. Actually, this is up. It's basically buffs here, equal here, and a little nerf here, but you're gonna get to this point significantly faster than you used to. So hopefully this feels good. I'll definitely be testing it out, because this has been a disappointing weapon for me personally, and I'll be excited to see if this changes that. This is also huge, just this. It costs it costs 33% less intel. It costs 2/3 of the intel it used to. You can fire 5 times with 10 intel instead of 3. Like, it's gonna be big, maybe. And then reduced recoil probably helps. So yeah, that weapon 3, that's gonna be a big change, I think. Okay, and your passive 3 jackpot. This was actually already live, but no one told us, so transparency, they're telling us. Passive 3 is when you gain or spend intel, your expertise cooldown goes down, and there's a chance for this jackpot to go off, which is going to give you full cooldown. So here's the actual numbers. Every time you spend or gain an intel with your expertise on, you have a 1% refund on that cooldown, and you now have a 3.5% chance to just get it refunded entirely. This was already live. I don't know if that's going to move the needle on this passive or not. I don't use it a lot personally, but we'll try it out and see. All right, Madam. This is a really simple one. They reduced the recoil of her weapon 2. Its recoil wasn't great. I feel like people kind of got used to it. When the Operation Overhaul first came out, this was kind of shouted about on rather loudly that it wasn't great because of the recoil, but I feel like that hasn't been said recently very much, so either people got used to it, but we'll see. This is probably just going to be considered a buff for the weapon because you can hit more shots, but it's kind of one of those we have to play with it and see how it feels. But this is probably going to go back or continue to be my pick for best weapon for Madam. All right. Red's Jack of Heart here, because that's what they start talking about first, is also getting the Ace's Carbine treatment. The Red Carbine's getting the Ace Carbine treatment. Now that longer fall off. And the weapon 1, my favorite weapon in the whole game, is getting a slight damage buff. Maybe that'll push it back. I hope so. I really do hope that this pushes it back to being very usable, because I do love this gun. All right. So sorry, this is the biggest, most important change. I've said that for like most of them. But look at this. You now have a crosshair when you're aiming the sword? Like, come on. It's the best change we've ever gotten. But, you know, there we go. We now have a crosshair when you're aiming your sword. Your poison doesn't last as long, 10 seconds instead of 12. This is actually a kind of big nerf, because I feel like a lot of the really good Sasori builds right now are using this passive. Instead of 30% bonus damage, you're only getting 15. So you're only gaining half the bonus damage you used to. Kind of a big deal. It's not going to affect weapon 3 at all, but weapon 2 users might be in shambles. We'll see what happens. Again, one of those things, like, I think this is going to be a big deal. I think this is going to be a kind of big Sasori nerf, because this one gets ran a lot on both weapon 1 and weapon 2 builds. So yeah. And then the passive 3 that people in solos don't really use also has less duration. Kind of line it up with that a little more. Fine. I don't use it enough to judge, but like, yeah, the bonus duration was not why you were using the passive, so getting less of it probably isn't a huge deal. Yeah, I could have seen a little more nerfs to Sasori. He's a little strong right now. Actually, across the board, we don't see a lot of nerfs. We get some nice buffs. I'm really liking most of the buffs I've seen, but we're not seeing a ton of nerfs. We got nothing here for Chavez. We didn't see Squire in here at all. We got a little nerf to this. Actually, that might be big for Larson. Sasori's only nerf is on his one passive, which might be enough, but I don't know if it's necessarily gonna be, but we'll see. And yeah, Squire doesn't make an appearance. Squire got no balance changes. All right, but we will move on to gadgets here, because I see the time already. Oh my goodness. The drone is bigger. That's it. You can now hit the drone easier. It's kind of actually good, because I suck at hitting it. The goo pod is stronger. Basically, they made goo pod slow different than like everyone else's slow, so that it gets its own unique amount. Yada yada yada. Umbrella shield, this is a big one. Probably should have started with this. Basically, when you're using the handheld shield, your health is going to drain at 2.5 HP per second. And then, yeah, sorry, not your HP. I said that wrong. The health of the shield is going to drain when you have that handheld shield open. 2.5 HP per second is going to let you hold it open for 20 seconds. It does 50 HP, and it's going to regenerate when you close it. So, like, sure, they made visual effects for that. They added a delay, so you can't, like, shield swap and shoot as well. And the weak point slightly bigger. Yeah. So I don't think this is going to be as big as it sounds. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, I think I haven't been I've been talking about a play style in a couple of videos, or at least in the background, of where you just run around with the shield out, because it's literally the best thing you can be doing. Obviously, they've now prevented that by your shield's going to die when you run around with it out. But I don't think that fixes the problem that I see, and that the problem is using the handheld shield basically to bait that first shot, and then basically maintaining or changing the fight so that they're now at a disadvantage because you happen to have a shield. And you don't need to have the shield open for a particularly long time to be able to do that. Maybe a second, maybe two, to just open it, to hold it in front of someone being kind of sus. Who might have sussed you out. So this is great. This is a great fix to one of the problems, but the big problem I wanted fixed does not get affected by this change that I can see. So still waiting on that. But you know, that's how it is. This is definitely a nerf to the shield that I'm happy about. It's still they say an extremely competitive. It's still the best pick you can do. It probably still is after this. You just don't run around with it out the whole time. You just have to pick when you have it out a little bit better. And honestly, it wasn't that hard to do before. It was just easier to run around holding mouse 1, and now you have to actually like pick when you want it out a little bit. All right, small rant over. All this is bug fixes that I'm not gonna read. Because this video is barely going to make under the 30-minute mark. I can see it. So do comment on your thoughts. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for Deceive Inc content going forward. We'll play a couple. the day after this, there'll definitely be a video on the update. Don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm really interested in a couple of these. It might be this. It might be. Might be that too. I don't know yet, but we'll have Deceive back tomorrow, and I will see you guys there.